Hello, welcome back to the Sustainable Weight Loss Podcast. It is Brianna Wilkerson, your host. Today, we are continuing our short tidbit encouragement summer series, talking about my 5 top tips to managing emotional eating this summer. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because emotional eating is a huge part of my story. And it is something that kept me down for very long in regards to my health, but once I started to find freedom in it, I saw that I wasn't the only one that struggled with it. And so this summer, there could be many things that are happening in your life. Maybe you're not able to travel the same way you wanted. Maybe you're not able to visit your friends. I know for me, some of my family can't see my daughter right away because of there's travel restrictions right now, right? So that's some reasons why our emotions can be very high. And we can run to something such as food. It is not always that, for comfort. And so today I just wanted to give you 5 simple tips to really manage that. If that is something that you're struggling with or you tend to struggle with during the summertime, these tips can help you. And a reminder that at the end, I'm going to mention some free resources I have around this, as well as support that I have in my membership around this. So the first tip is don't keep foods that you're going to be tempted by in your house. And I try to do this all throughout the year. Being pregnant, I've let loose a little bit, but if I know that there are certain foods that even if I have it's in the house and I'm gonna have a little bit a day, just a little bit a day. That little bit can turn into a lot, and I know that when I'm stressed out, I'm gonna want to go to that first. So this was the first thing, that if there are certain foods, even if it's more expensive for me to buy it once a week, I will still buy it once a week because I do not want to go back to the road that I was down. So by not keeping those foods that you know that you run to for comfort or that are going to tempt you in the house on a regular basis, you will not have it when you're feeling like you need that emotional eating for comfort. Okay? But on the second tip, the other hand, is to let yourself enjoy a treat every now and then. Like, let yourself enjoy that food, but you determine how often you want it. So I think a big thing when it comes to diets in particular is that women deprive themselves and they don't allow themselves to really just enjoy these foods. And so they go on what we call, and I'll talk a little bit about intuitive eating. I'm reading that right now. What the writers of that book talk about, like the Last Supper, where if we tell ourselves, okay, this summer I'm not going to have any treats, you're going to go on a Last Supper right before that, and you're going to eat everything, and you're not going to feel good about yourself. And sometimes when you do that, it actually makes you do it more because you're like, oh, I've already screwed up, so I'm going to keep going. No, right? So letting yourself enjoy those things actually could help you with emotional eating because you're starting to see like, oh, well, I already have this. I don't need this for comfort. Maybe I should do something else. And then the third tip is to learn to become an intuitive eater. So there's different types of eaters. And I'm, again, still reading this book, so still kind of getting familiar with this concept. But there's people who are kind of unconscious eaters, like you're eating unconsciously because either you're busy or because you're emotional, all these different things. People who are kind of like strict diet eaters who, again, just follow diets that are that are even health concerned, but are really kind of overboard with it. And then sometimes some people have to be, especially if you have certain health conditions. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're going on diets for the sake of weight loss or your body that you do in order to fix something. And then we have intuitive eaters. That's not all the different types, but then you have the intuitive eaters who start to listen to your body's hunger cues, listen to what your body's saying, listen to when your body's full, and you start to like serve your body through food. And you start to see food as fuel instead of like a friend that can comfort you all the time, or an enemy or a foe. And learning to become more of an intuitive eater that eats in tune with your body can really help you manage emotional eating. And then the fourth tip is get accountability and support. What's going to help you if you're in a particular stressful emotional season, or you have weak spots, you're aware what's going to help you. And I think actually the reason and how you learn that is actually when you actually give into emotional eating, like asking yourself, what was my hunger cue? What triggered that? How can I really work on that? And in the academy, I actually have a class I did on this with a food mood journal to really help women figure out, when this happened in my life, I did this and this is how I felt. And then you start to see a pattern. Like, oh, okay. So then you're like, okay, you tell your husband or someone like, listen, when I'm feeling like this, let's go on a walk right away, because otherwise I'm going to go to that kitchen, right? So getting accountability and support in my academy, that's why I have the Facebook group for women who, when they just feel like they need some encouragement, they can reach out to their accountability partner or to the whole group, okay? And so whoever that is in your life, I just think, yeah, get that accountability. And then 5th is give yourself some freaking grace. Like, you're gonna eat when you don't want to eat at one point. And I do this all the time. Not all the time. Sorry. I like, especially being pregnant, I think and let me just say this. I think when you're pregnant, people think they give you a lot of breaks. And I'm great. And I've learned a lot of grace from myself. But just because I'm pregnant does not mean I should eat everything I want when I want it. Just because I'm pregnant does not mean I shouldn't work out if I actually feel good enough to work out. Just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean like everything is okay. No, because not only, I'm not just even trying to think about, oh, I'm growing a baby and whatever I do impacts her, but also like I want to be my healthiest version of myself even while pregnant. And so I'm going to try to like follow these things, try to not emotionally eat while pregnant, but also when I do, I like in this 3rd trimester, a little bit of nausea came back, and I was like, I don't really eat sandwiches often. I don't really eat bread often. But in the 1st trimester, that's how I ate every day because that's what I could stomach. And then suddenly it came back and I'm like, I just need to eat a sub. and I did, because I'm like, that's what I needed. And the old me would be like, Brianna, you shouldn't have gave in, all this sort of stuff. And it's like, no, I needed that. Or, man, I just want that apple turnover. And I ate it. And I ate it once. So it's just what I'm trying to say is that giving in, regardless if you're pregnant or not, giving into emotional eating is not always a bad thing, as long as you're taking some time to learn what happened from it, why you did it, so that you can get accountability, so that you can start to be more in tune with your intuitive eating, so you can learn to enjoy it when you really want it, and so you can learn to keep it out the house if that's what's causing you to do it, right? So give yourself grace. So the first tip is don't keep foods in your house you're going to be tempted by. Second tip is let yourself enjoy a treat every now and then. You just determine how often. Third is to learn to become an intuitive eater. 4th is get accountability and support. And 5 is give yourself grace. Okay. So in my free resource library, there's some couple resources around this. The Healthy Mind, Healthy Body resource really helps you establish a better relationship with food, your body, and yourself. And that can really guide you towards healing in this area. And then the no flaw stuff as well. The I Am Enough stuff dives deep into this in some podcast episodes and a journal as well. Similar stuff to the Healthy Mind and Body. And then in my paid coaching membership, again, join the wait list because you might be one of the people that get private enrollment during the summer. But I have a training I did on how to overcome emotional eating and manage your weight, which has a food mood journal, which has strategies, telling what is emotional eating, what causes it, what triggers it, strategies before you emotionally eat, strategies even after, what you can learn from it. And of course, there's a food mood journal. And then more than that, you're going to get accountability and support and coaching from me and the women in the group. Okay. So that's it for this. Hopefully these tips, let me know which one resonated with you the most. Once you join the free resource library too, I'll have the link to my free Facebook group if you want to attack this podcast episode. But then also you can also do that in the academy if you're interested in that. Okay. Please rate and review this, share this episode if this really helped you and really so it can support other women. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.